All right, so this is the same document as before with factoring using the box and diamond. I'm just going to show you another method, kind of more non-traditional of what we've been teaching here. I know in your Algebra 1 and Algebra 2 classes, but something just kind of interesting and see, it may help you, it may not. It doesn't matter which method you choose to use. They both will get you to where you need to go. Just some kids, would prefer the options that if they're there. Okay, so before we talked about the box and the diamond, more traditional. Let's look at, I'm gonna call this the fraction method. Right, yeah, fractions are going to be involved, but they're going to be relatively simple to kind of handle, so don't freak out just because you hear fraction. So very similar kind of setup here. Before using the box and the diamond, we needed a diamond, so that's actually going to be the first step with this method as well. And even better, on top of the diamond, or the diamond's going to be filled in the same exact way. So remember the steps, or the diamond is your A times C, right? So in this particular case, we have 2x squared times 15, which is a 30x squared. And then the bottom of the diamond, right, the template for the bottom of the diamond is the B value, which the B value here is the 13x. All right, so, and again, kind of formality, nothing's going to change here. Still, the side of the diamond is going to be the same thing. We have 1 times 30, 2 times 15, 3 times 10. All right, so 3 and 10 multiply to get 30, but 3 plus 10 gives me 13. So one factor, if you will, is going to be the 3x, and the other factor is going to be the 10x. And I made this in a different color because you're going to find out here in a minute. So now, the next step that's going to be different, instead of drawing a box, we're going to create fractions. Okay, so on top of the fraction is going to be the ax squared term. Okay, and we're going to make two fractions actually. So on top of the fraction, it's going to be the ax squared term. And then below one of them, you're going to have the left side of the diamond. And on the other side, you're going to have the right side of the diamond. All right, so we're going to make our fraction. And on top of the fraction, like I said, you're going to have the ax squared term, so you're going to have 2x squared. And on the bottom, you're going to have, it doesn't matter which one you pick first, we're going to have the 3x. All right, and let's just go ahead and make our other diamond. Again, on top of the diamond, you are going to have the 2x squared. And on the bottom, now you're going to have the 10x. Now, instead of, this would be the step where you're filling the numbers inside of the box, and then after we get the numbers in the box, we have to pull the GCF out. But instead of making a box, we're making a fraction. And the last step from here is to simplify the fraction. So this is the only scary part of it. You're still, you're building a fraction. We need to be able to simplify the fraction. So x over x, that's going to leave you with 1x, and there's nothing we can do with the 3s, or the 2/3. Okay, same thing over here. Let's simplify this fraction. Well, the x over x, the x is going to stay on top. 2/10 is 2 over 10 simplifies to be 1/5. All right, and now since the fraction is completely reduced, this fraction is simplified, this turns into, we have 2x, a positive 2x on top, 3 on the bottom. That turns into 2x plus 3. Same thing with this guy, okay? The x is going to be written first in the binomial. So x, positive x, this is a positive 5 plus 5. So now these are your two factors. So a lot of similar steps dealing with the box and the diamond, but instead of drawing the box, putting the numbers in the box, pulling the GCF out of the box, you're putting them in a fraction and simplifying the fraction out. All right, so let's look at two more examples, the same exact examples that you saw from the previous notes. So we know we should be coming up with the same result, right? We're factoring the same quadratics and see if we, which method you prefer over the other. All right, here we go. So let's go a little bit quicker instead of spelling out step by step. The steps are there. You can kind of refer back to them. So we have a negative 18 and a negative 7. Well, what multiplies to get negative 18? And to get negative 7, we have a negative 9x and a positive 2x. Okay, so now that we've got those two numbers, we build our fraction. Again, the fraction, the top of the fraction, I should say, is going to be that 6x squared. And the bottom is going to be the numbers that you came up with the sides of the diamond. So instead of putting those numbers in the box, you're putting on the bottom of a fraction. And again, the 6x squared goes on top. The other part of the diamond is the 2x. Let's simplify our fraction. Again, we have x squared over x, so the x is going to, there's more x's on top. 6/9, right? Again, in your calculator, if you don't like simplifying fractions, in your calculator, I'm going to put 6/9. And it will simplify the fraction for you. Remember, math, enter this math key, and then enter on the fraction. We'll turn any decimal or any kind of fraction into its simplest form as a fraction there, okay? So we see that it says 2/3, and the negative's down there, so we're just going to leave the negative with it. All right, and the other one, x squared's on top, x is on the bottom, so the top is going to be an x. And here we have 6/2. 6 divided by 2 is 3/1. Okay, so don't put a 0 down here because we can't divide by 0. It actually turns into 6/3. Whole numbers actually are fractions as well. So 6/2 is 3/1, right? It simplifies to be a 3. And so now that we have our fraction, we're going to put this as a binomial. So we have the 2x minus 3. We have the 3x. We have the plus 1. All right, so these are your factors. If we multiply those out, we will get that same quadratic expression that we started with. And, if you watch the previous notes, well, the factors turn out to be the exact same thing. One more example to see if we can kind of get the hang of it, or if, we don't see it just yet. Same thing with this example. This should be a squared. All right, the diamond. We have 3 times negative 10, which is a negative 30. And the 7x is going to go down. Well, it multiplies to get negative 30, adds to get a positive 7. Again, write out the factors. 1 and 30, 2 and 15, 3 and 10. Well, what combination of those can we multiply to have a negative but add to get a positive? Well, this is my only combination there, okay? So the negative's got to be with the 3. The positive has got to be with the 10x. All right, now that with the diamond is complete, let's go ahead and build our fractions. Remember, the top of the fraction is the ax squared. So we've got 3x squared. And the bottom of the fraction is going to be one of the numbers that you just came up with, the diamond. All right, and the other fraction, again, the ax squared. The ax squared. And we're going to divide that by the other number we got on the side of the diamond. And then from there, we're going to simplify the fraction. So 3x squared over the x's are going to, that one x is going to stay on top. 3 over negative 3, right? The negative's in the bottom, so we'll just say 1 over negative 1. All right, 3 divided by negative 3 is a negative 1. So we have 1 over negative 1. Same thing here. The x is going to stay on top. 3 over 10. There's nothing that can be done. Again, double check your calculator. 3 divided by 10. Math, enter. And well, yeah, it doesn't simplify out, right? Your calculator will tell you the simplest form. 3/10 doesn't reduce any further, so we're just going to leave it 3/10. And now writing these as your factored form. Well, the first binomial here, we have x minus 1. And the other one, we have 3x plus 10. And again, here is your factored form. This is what we are being asked to do. Find the factors of our quadratic. And again, if you remember from our previous notes, they're the same exact factors that we use. Again, I don't care what method you use. I know the other box and diamond was more traditional and something that you've learned, way back when you were a freshman. This is definitely a little bit newer to you, but maybe you struggle with the box. You don't like all the steps that are involved with the box. So this is just kind of another avenue for you to kind of check out. They both get you to the same spot. It doesn't matter, but some will find, stuff easier in one than the other.